The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN in headquarters in St. Petersburg, Florida. Sorry I missed you the last couple of days. Quite a couple days in the market. I was a little bit under the weather. Thanks to Tom for filling in yesterday. This morning, we're starting off right where we left off with volatility. Dow futures off 578 points right now, trading 24,271. We've got S&P futures negative by 71, trading at 27.94. NASDAQ futures negative by 186, trading at 81.44. You have oil off another dollar. You got the 10-year yield right at 0.7%. We'll start this morning off. We'll start it off with a chart of the S&P. We have it up here. We've got this on a 15-minute chart encompassing Monday's action. The low at the close of Monday, after the close at Monday, actually 1 hour after the close, 5 p.m. Eastern time on Monday, 26.95. Quite a trading range, folks. You're trading, let's just call it 2,700 for simple math. Whoops. 2,700, we're 5 points under there, up to 2880, so that's 180 S&P points. You come from 2880 down 140 points to the early day yesterday, 1030. You then trade right back up to 2880, 2784 right now in the S&Ps as the markets look to open about 2.5% in the red. Jumping over to the VIX this morning, as you'd expect, quite the day on Monday, 62.12, that opening print on the VIX. Markets down limit 5%, opening at around down 7% to start the trading week. 53.29 as that VIX stays elevated. You could make a decent case that the VIX undervalued when the market and the S&P is moving 140 to 180 points in multiple directions during the same day sometimes. Jumping over to the charts, we'll start things off with the indices. There's your Dow 30. Overnight, the highs at about 5 a.m., 24,620. We're now a solid 500 Dow points below that level. You see the close of action on yesterday. The market starts trading lower pretty quickly, quite a charge higher. Began at about 2 o'clock, the final 2 hours of the trading day on Tuesday, straight up. You go up 1,000 points in the Dow, 1,100 points practically, 23,895 at 2 o'clock. You end the day 25,007, right at the highs. And from there, we're off about, check that out, where we were right at 4 o'clock, 25,000. You're 850 plus points down in the Dow futures. NASDAQ 100, 8,097. We were up there at about 140 points higher at 82.43. Crude oil trading lower overnight. We actually get crude inventories 10:30 a.m. this morning, about 2 hours from right now. Should be interesting to see what those come in at and how the market responds. I'm not imagining they are going to have a very big impact on the market with what else is going on. Gold contract trading higher overnight was above 1670. You have gold trading at 1667 right now. And there's your euro US dollar. Euro trading at 113.45. In terms of what you have happening around the market, jumping over, and why not, we'll pull it up. You're just getting the U.S. CPI number out. We got a rise of 0.1% in February. The market was looking for a 0.2%. That number just coming out at 8:30. I don't think they're going to have much more than the headline, and they do not. So CPI expected to rise by 0.2. That number out at 8:30 rising 0.1, pretty close to in line. Not really going to have a big effect on the market. Treasury yields, as I mentioned, below 0.7%. Flight to safety continues, pulling up the number of different rates. Your 2-year, 0.438, 10-year, 0.7, the 30-year, 1.21. I have a story up here somewhere. We'll get to it. There it is, I think. Mortgage refinance applications. Why not? Coming off the yield, as you may expect, when we just saw the 10-year, what was our low? 0.3 something percent. Mortgage refinance applications spiking 79% as homeowners rush to take advantage of lower rates. Refinance applications rose a whopping 79% last week, 479% higher than a year ago. Mortgage applications to purchase a home increased a much milder 6% for the week, 12% higher annually. So putting a boost in the buying market, but especially that refinance. I mean, rates all-time lows, never been lower. Why not? If you haven't refinanced anytime in the immediate near past, might be a good time to do it. Mortgage rates have come off their record lows and took a sizable move higher Tuesday, though. You might have missed the low. Still relatively low prices, low yields, I should say, as news of a government stimulus to combat the financial effects of that coronavirus. Not sure those are coming as quick as the market wants them, though. In terms of the coronavirus, some of the updates. Pretty intimidating chart, you could call it, would be one word. Cases in China, cases outside of China. Of course, the worry is that it's accelerating outside of China. Getting down to the raw numbers, global cases, 119,000. Deaths, unfortunately, 4,291. The U.S. surpassing the 1,000 mark, and that death toll at 29. Some pretty, again, intimidating, just stark stories out there in terms of Germany's Merkel saying, quote unquote, most people will be affected. When the virus is out there, the population has no immunity, no therapy, 60 to 70% of the population could be infected. And getting into it further, you have our own CDC telling people over 60 who have chronic illness like diabetes, stock up on goods and maybe buckle down for a lengthy stay at home. That those would be most at risk, especially those at 80 years or older. I believe it goes down. It's fair to say, as the trajectory of the outbreak continues, many people in the United States will at some point in time, either this year or next, be exposed to the virus. So there'll be a vaccine out for this, but it's going to be a volatile period for a period of time. And I just imagine that you're going to see a lot of big arenas. There's not going to be a March Madness, I can't imagine. Ivy League already canceling their conference tournament. I believe it was Yale won the regular season. They'll go to the NCAAs, how that plays out. MIT canceling classes after spring break for the rest of the year. Harvard as well, I believe. You may see that follow suit in Massachusetts. So those stories, in terms of large congregations of more than 50 people or so, I imagine that's just going to be the starkest difference that you see maybe reverberate. Other news out there in terms of what that financial stimulus could be. You have President Trump pitched 0% payroll tax for the rest of the year, White House officials say. Trump, in a meeting with Republican lawmakers yesterday, pitched a 0% payroll tax rate that would last through the rest of the year. That development comes as Trump and the White House try to put together an economic stimulus plan. Whether Congress passes, that type of tax cut, another story, because those taxes, of course, going to come from somewhere. We're running $1 trillion deficit, 0% payroll tax. I imagine there'll be some debate about that. You could argue that the market needs it, but how is that going to play into a payroll tax when potentially that money is not going to be spent? People who might need that money the most might not benefit exactly from that payroll tax in a time when you're just going to see spending dry up in terms of travel, flying, cruises, vacation venues of most kinds. Italy surpassing 10,000 cases as the national quarantine moves closer to a total shutdown. So Italy just dealing with quite an expansion of their numbers over there, as we've all heard. Jumping back to some of the yield, Bank of England cutting rates in an emergency move to combat coronavirus impact. They cut by 50 basis points. Announced Wednesday an emergency rate cut in an attempt to limit the economic impact. That was a quick first segment. Checking back in on the markets as we go to break. The Dow, under those session lows we had pre-market at 2 and 3 in the morning, 24,103. NASDAQ 100, 8,091. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back.
If you're in the CD market and looking for a secure investment, the Tiger First Mortgage Program may work for you. The security for these first mortgages are building lots in the tax opportunity zone in St. Petersburg, Florida. The Tax Act of 2018 set up tax-free zones across the country where you can build and hold for 10 years and pay no tax on the profits, which makes these lots valuable. The investment is anywhere from $30,000 to $75,000. The interest paid is 7% yearly, paid on a monthly basis. According to Bankrate.com, the best rate for a 4-year CD in the country as of February 20th is 3.1%. A $50,000 investment at a normal 4-year CD rate of 3.1% would give you income of $1,550 per year or $6,200 over the 4-year period. That same $50,000 investment in the Tiger First Mortgage Program would give you $3,500 per year or $14,000 over the 4 years. Which would you prefer, $6,200 or $14,000 of interest on your investment? If you would like more information about the Tiger First Mortgage Program, you can call me at 877-518-9190. That's 877-518-9190. The gold market has taken off topside in a large way in 2020. If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my gold report. The gold report took profits in 4 of its equities in the gold portfolio in the first week of January for a combined profit of 99.2%, with 2 positions left in the portfolio that have a profit of 67.5% as of January 7th. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. 81 points red in the S&Ps. Dow Jones off about 665, 24,184. Jumping back to the stories of the day. And we're going to start things off with Goldman saying that the bull market will end soon with stocks dropping another 15% from here. You have David Kostin, Goldman's top U.S. equity strategist, wrote that the historic fall in interest rates unlikely to prevent a quote-unquote collapse in second and third quarter profits. After 11 years, 13% annualized earnings growth, 16% annualized trough to peak appreciation, we believe the S&P 500 bull market will end soon. Their forecast for weaker 2020 earnings hinges on lower oil prices and interest rates that diminish energy and financial company profits, as I guess they play in. It's not the signs you want to see. Looking forward to that economy. Pepsi acquiring energy drink maker Rockstar Energy in a $3.85 billion deal. I personally, not a big fan of the energy drinks. They make me shake a little bit, all that caffeine or whatever they got in there. But nonetheless, you see them in the grocery store shelves. $3.85 billion for Rockstar. Pepsi and rival Coke have been pushing into energy drinks as soda consumption declining in the U.S. Pepsi said it does not expect the acquisition to have a material impact on its revenue or earnings this year. So $3.85 billion. Doubling down on energy drinks, turning around its struggling Mountain Dew brand. I used to be a huge fan of Mountain Dew when I drank soda. Soda, probably one of the most unhealthy things that you can drink for yourself, as we cover this story. Pepsi had a distribution agreement with privately held Rockstar in North America since 2009, so they had been distributing it. Pepsi CFO Hugh Johnston said the company's distribution contract with Rockstar restricted it from innovating in energy drinks or partnering with others. If the deal closes, Pepsi will be able to form partnerships with other energy drink makers. So interesting how that plays into things in terms of they must have had some type of exclusivity going on there. Pepsi closed yesterday at about $134, down about $4, almost maybe $3.20 to $130.79. Other news out there, you have Express out with their earnings, 19 cents a share, a penny a share above estimates. Comp store sales, though, falling 3%, greater than the 2.7% drop. Express, one of the retailers, been struggling recently. Pulled up their chart at the break as I was getting into it, and I was like, oh, man, they're down at $2. And so you get, to recap again, they had earnings that beat by a cent, but you're dropping comp sales down 3% versus you're talking about they already expected 2.7. You have Express popping from 248 to 259. I would have thought maybe you saw that down on a comp sales miss, but check out that decline. Even the low back there in August of last year, $1.83. You trade all the way up. I mean, look at that earnings. That's where things really began, I guess. August of last year, $6.24. But just like that, December 11th, we've just been a straight shot down, $2.50 for Express. Bank of America saying the iPhone 5G, the 5G iPhone, I should say, may be delayed, but there's still a big reason to buy Apple. And checking into Apple shares, I mean, some of these stocks, when you look at the haircut, if you're a long-term investor, Apple, 327 down to 285. Just even looking at this type of retracement here, a 50% retracement brings you right down to 250. That 382 was 268.53. You were down below that level, that low there on February 28th, 256.37. So $6 away from that 250. Some of these other tech stocks, why not? Since we're on Apple, jumping around, we'll put it on a 15-minute to see where we're at this morning. You have Microsoft shares down more than $4. Yesterday, quite a run. I mean, check out the run higher. The volatility in the market across the board yesterday, up and down. You had Microsoft run from 150 up to 160, back down to 152, and closed out the day at almost 161. I think that was up like 6.8% yesterday alone, backing off more than $4.50, giving back some of those gains from yesterday. Amazon shares, 1891 they closed at. I mean, Amazon had a 100-point run from late yesterday afternoon, the lows up to almost 1900 at early yesterday morning. We almost got right back up to that level at the close, and since then we're back now about $50, $18.48, or I should say about $40, $18.48 in the price of Amazon. Netflix shares, $3.58, closed at about $3.64. Microsoft we did cover. Facebook, $173.49, closed at $178.19. Some of the other stocks have really taken some haircuts, just jumping around. Disney shares, 108, closed at 111.46. Some of the casino stocks yesterday, not sure if you saw, quite the run up they had percentage-wise. You closed out 17.52 on MGM on Monday. You traded up almost $4 in a $17 stock, almost a 20% pop there. Trading at $21, backing off a bit at 2018. And even some of, as you look at Carnival, closed at 22, and just positive moves in some of these stocks that had really been hurt for a while. Some of the other news stories out there in terms of what we have going on. DXC Technology selling its Medicaid services unit to a private equity firm, Veritas Capital, for $5 billion in cash. It's amazing the type of deals that get done in terms of spin-offs of Medicaid services from one technology company, $5 billion. Had said in November it would consider alternatives for the unit so it could focus on enterprise technology solutions. DXC was formed in 2017 through a merger of Computer Sciences and Enterprise Services unit of HPE. DXC shares this morning, quite a pop to $25 on that news. Was trading at $15 yesterday. $18.40 though, quite a pullback, right? So they're selling that Medicaid service. The market finds out last night $25. And just like that, it's $7 off the top, almost 30% off that top. I wonder what that number actually contributes in terms of the per share, because, man, that was a miscalculation as they traded higher on that news. Other equities out there making news. Fiat Chrysler said it would temporarily close plants across Italy to minimize the risk of spreading the coronavirus. It's kind of what I was talking about on the top. It's going to be difficult when you're a plant with hundreds and hundreds of workers. I imagine, when you're in cities where you're taking transit, my friends and I were talking about this last night, just very generally for a moment, in terms of the impact, when you see companies like Microsoft, companies like Facebook, you're working in huge, huge buildings. Everybody's transiting through, whether it's the T, whether it's public transit to get in. Those types of companies much more likely to benefit from a shutdown where you're dealing with, interactions with potentially hundreds, if not thousands of people on a daily basis to go to work. I imagine if you live in the suburbs, if you work in a small business, that's a life that you may see less interrupted. Where the hysteria and the fear doesn't really translate as much. But when you talk about a big working plant, hundreds of employees all over the place, so they're temporarily closing the plant, especially in a region like Italy, potentially hit harder than most as of right now, at least. Regeneron and Sanofi, the two drug makers, are readying tests of their Kevzara thermatoid arthritis drug as a possible treatment for symptoms of the coronavirus. So Regeneron, one of the stocks that's been very volatile here, as we've seen them be in the headlines having to do with the coronavirus a bit, backing this off and putting it on that 20, check that run, 386 all the way up to 500 on the dot. A shout out to our man Basil Chapman with his round numbers. Gotta love that. 380 to 500 in the span of about 2 weeks, and we're back up at 487. And what was the other? Sanofi, SNY. Those shares trading back a bit at 44.68. Stay tuned, folks. I'll be coming back to wrap up the show, see what else we have on tap for today. We'll be right back.
I'm certain you are or strive to be one of the best at everything you do in life. It's the most common trait that we tigers and tigresses share. If you're looking to become the best of the best when it comes to managing your money, let me teach you to do what most wealth managers tell you can't be done, which is how to time the markets. I'm Steve Rhodes, author of Mastering Probability, and for the last 12 months, Timer Digest has been tracking my newsletter signals, which have earned me the ranking as their #1 market timer in the nation for the S&P 500 for the last 12, 6, and 3 months. Timer Digest also ranks me as the #1 market timer for gold as well. The fact is, markets can be timed, and I'll teach you the exact set of tools that I use that has transformed me into one of the best at what I do. Sign up for Mastering Probability today by clicking on the newsletter tab on the homepage of TFNN.com and get immediate access to workshops where I take you step by step how to use an extraordinary set of tools as well as provide great market calls too. Sign up today.
If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, oil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. Dow futures off 745. I'm going to jump right into JetBlue. So JetBlue shares in this recent decline, I'll get there, 2165. Quite a drop to 1301. I mean, if you're on margin in these stocks, you're wiped out, which is amazing to think on a company like JetBlue. Pretty solid, but their CEO says demand for flights has fallen more due to coronavirus than after 9/11. Pretty stark. You have the CEO, Robin Hayes, said Tuesday demand for airline flights fallen more in response to the virus than it did after 9/11. We're planning for it to get worse. We don't think bookings have stabilized yet. Hayes said JetBlue has not asked the White House for federal assistance. You're going to see a lot of these companies asking for bailouts, especially something like the airline industry. Southwest CEO recently said the coronavirus has created a fear of flying that has a 9/11-like feel. There's your JetBlue chart. And getting into the action this morning, you have it down a bit again, 15-minute chart, 1401, closed about 1450, putting that back on a yearly because some of these other stocks. Now, something that I actually have a wedding going on in Boston around the April timeframe. That's United, off from 96 back in July, but just when this drop began, even February 19th, $80 down to $45. Again, almost a full wipeout on these airline stocks. Delta Airlines from $60 to $41. You could argue Delta holding up the best, as in that drop only about 33%, as the others being about a 50% drop. Southwest shares from about 60 to 42. Southwest not as impacted, at least in the beginning, when it was international at all, because they're basically primarily based in the U.S. And then the cruise lines, as we talked about, quite the fall off there, from 50 to 20 for Carnival. Norwegian, really 60 to 17, just remarkable. But back to JetBlue for a moment. JetBlue, great fares from Tampa to Boston, and I happen to be flying up there in April. A lot of these airlines right now, they have the policy. You can book now for travel through a certain date. I know JetBlue does. Book now, travel through, I believe, September. You can cancel at any time. If you're going to plan a trip, there's some great fares out there. You can cancel at any time and maybe take advantage. Stay tuned, folks. We got Larry Pesavento coming up live with Trade What You See. I'll be back at 10 o'clock with Tom. Have a great Wednesday.